All right, good morning. We are live. This is Richie Cantardesi coming to you live from beautiful, sunny Las Vegas, Nevada with another episode of SalesPreneur. And as we were doing this series, I've kind of explained the reason that we're able to do these and I'm not on the road is because I am home for somewhat of what you would call a maternity leave. And we'll be making these videos as much as I can. And if I am not here one morning, that is probably because I'm in the hospital. But today I've got a topic, and it came up over the weekend, and I think it's a super important topic. And I was talking to to one of my friends, and we were talking about an old memory of one of our old coaches. It was my first baseball coach, and he would say this literally at every practice, at every game. And because I was such a bad baseball player, and I didn't make the baseball team in high school, I didn't make it in high school. I didn't make the soccer team in high school either, but I wanted to. But it was baseball. It was my little league coach, and he said this to me, and I think it's so important. He says this. He would ask you this question after every play, every bad play, every mistake, every bad decision, and he'd ask the question. He'd say, "What's the most important play?" And there is one answer to that. And let's see, actually, let me ask you who's on. Leave a comment. If I were to ask you, what's the most important decision you can make in sales, what would that be? I can't see who's on, but I can see who comments. So if you're on, comment. What do you think is the most important decision that you can make in sales? Let's see. I'll give it a second here if I don't get anything. Okay, and I can see that there are, I think, 2 people. Okay, anyways. All right, so the most important decision you can make in sales is the next decision. And that's what our baseball coach used to say. And I'm going to give you some kind of practicality to this and things you can do. But so the baseball coach would come up to us and we would say to us, "What's the most important play?" Like literally, what's the most important play? After you made a mistake, after practice, after game, he would always ask that question. And as a team or individually, we'd always have to say the next play. And I think that's so practical. It's so important, not just in sales or in entrepreneurship, but also just this is a life lesson. Like, what's the most important play? The next play. What's the most important decision you can make in sales? The most important decision you can make as an entrepreneur? The most important decision is the next decision, right? Most people, when they make a mistake, when they do something wrong, when people are upset at them, it ruins their whole day. It ruins like their whole, how they function, how they think, how they act, how they talk. And it literally shapes what they do for the rest of that day, sometimes week, month, year. It also causes anxiety and depression. We talked about that a little bit, right? You can't control the past is the bottom line. That's like the biggest takeaway I want to get from this is when he would say, "What's the most important play?" It's the next play. And that's because I would run to the dugout crying because I struck out. And it was the next play. And it's the same thing. You can't control the past. You can't control the mistakes that you've made, the decisions that you've made in the past. But what you can control are the decisions that you make in the future. And if we learn from those, right, if we learn from those mistakes, like deals falling through, okay, why did it fall through? If we take that, reverse engineer that deal and figure out where we fell short, then we can learn from it, right? But if instead of finding where the deal fell short and you get upset, you get mad, you let it ruin your day, your week, your month, your year, then you're always going to live in the past. You're always going to live with anxiety. You're always going to live with depression. You're always going to live with this on the back of your mind, right? What about if a meeting doesn't go well? You're supposed to meet with somebody and they don't show up, or you're supposed to meet with somebody and you thought you were going to you thought like you were going to be able to sell them whatever you have, or they were going to buy what you have, or they were going to buy your idea, or they were going to invest in your product or your service, and it doesn't go well. Why? Like, why did that not go well? Where did we fall short? Was it in the prospecting? Was it in the contacting? Was it in the actual meeting itself? Like, let's figure out what we could have done better, what we need to learn, how we have to get better, as opposed to dwelling on the past, as opposed to dwelling on these things that ruin our day. So when the question is, what's the most important decision you can make in sales? 100% the most important decision you can make in sales is the next decision. And that decision is to decide that you are going to learn from whatever happened beforehand and get better and become a better person and grow from it, become better professionally, become better personally on whatever that looks like, whatever you failed, whatever decision you made didn't work out. So it's the best to constantly learn from mistakes. I mean, if you look at the best of the best in sports, in business, in sales, the best of the best are constantly taking bad decisions, taking bad commitments, taking bad things that they've done, learning from it and getting better. Like, everybody's who is great has failed and failed and failed their way to success. There's nobody who's made it and is doing amazing but didn't fail their way there. And that's the difference, is they've taken those failures, they've broken through that wall, the fear of failure, they've broken through that, and they've broken through the fact and understanding, like, I'm going to fail. Like, every single day I'm going to make a bad decision. We want to avoid these, right? But like, it's going to happen. And one way to avoid that is by having a mentor, right? I've talked about that before, but having a mentor is everything. If you have somebody who's already done what you want to do at a very high level, and you ask them how they did it, do what they tell you to do, and you can expect the same results, right? Or predictable, similar results. And so that's why it's so important to have a mentor, somebody who's already done it. So let me see here. All right, cool. So Emily, what is up? Madeline, what's up? Miranda, that's genius. Always plan for tomorrow. Yes, ma'am. Michelle, what's up? Yeah. So I mean, that's pretty much what I have. There's some cool I've seen. Actually, I don't know if anybody would actually do this, but hey, you never know. One thing that you can do is get, like, something. I wouldn't say get a tattoo, but just get something that's like the next play, the next decision, just something to maybe on your computer, get a sticky or something that just says, what's the most important play, the next play. I think we can all learn something from that, from my baseball coach. And I was like, I must have been 9-10 years old. And that one saying has still stuck with me, and the people around me, other players that are on the team that I'm still friends with, I literally texted him. My phone's right here, so I can't show you, but I texted him on Saturday, and I said, "Hey Zach, what's the most important play?" And he wrote back immediately and said, "The next play." I said, "Dad, what's the most important play?" He texted me back. He said, "Coach Jalad, the next play." And I think it's such a great way to live by. Like, of course, we want to avoid making the mistakes and making bad decisions, right? We want to avoid that. But if we live by, hey, what's the most important decision we can make right now? It's the next decision. What's the most important play? It's the next play. Put it on your computer. Put it on a freaking, I mean, don't say, I'm not telling you to get a tattoo, but it's a Celtic symbol for new beginnings. Okay. Hey, so Miranda did get a tattoo. Great words of advice. Thank you, Carol. But that's really all I have for today. I mean, I think it's more of a mindset Monday type thing, but I don't want to just crush with too much information here, but I think that's a great, like, kind of start. It's what my message was. So I don't see any questions. I will be here tomorrow. Miranda, you got to post a picture of that tat, as long as it's like, I don't know where you have it, but if it's somewhere normal. But that's all that I have for you guys. I will be here tomorrow at 9 a.m. I will say, I think we're getting closer to this birth that's about to happen, but if not, I will be here, and I've got a really cool one for tomorrow, and I've been thinking about this, but I wanted to get this one today. So I do not see any questions. I hope you all have an amazing day and crush it. It's Monday. Treat it like it's the freaking, I love Mondays. I really do. Like, this is the day where you can set up for the week. Like, you can plan, you can, use today to really just freaking get the week off right, crush it, get your mindset right, focus on the next decision if you made a bad one on Friday or something didn't go well. And let's just freaking crush it this week as a team. Let's go out. Let's murder it. Let's have a great week, and I will see you tomorrow.